Welcome to TogTips. My name is Ryan. I'm a local photographer here in the beautiful county of Newell. Today we're going to talk about shooting at night. See, I've got night on my mind already. And it can be difficult to get some cool images of what you see up in the heavens, those beautiful stars, maybe the northern lights. We have a lot of meteor showers in this area. And we're going to go through some tips on how to try and get some better shots of those. First thing you're going to need is a tripod, obviously, to keep things nice and steady, because you're going to be shooting at a longer shutter speed, higher exposure. So you're going to want to have something that's going to keep that stable. Another thing I like to use is a shutter release. So that's just a cable that attaches to your camera, and it's got a button that you don't have to physically press the shutter. Because if you're shooting at something like 1/15 of a second or 30 seconds or something, it's going to introduce a vibration, even if you just press that shutter. Even with the mirror flapping up and down your camera, that's going to introduce some vibration. So, if you want a nice, crisp, clear image, you might even want to, lock that mirror up and just shoot with the sensor. So basically what I like to use when shooting at night is a nice wide angle lens like this 14mm lens. It's got to be something where you've got a large enough aperture. So remember how we talked about the iris last time, about how, when you go into a dark place, your iris gets bigger. That's what you want your lens to do. So you want to be, I think this one goes down to 2.8. Yeah, so f2.8 is where this one's at. I'll probably crank up my ISO a little higher, maybe 1600 range. I'll probably be shooting at 15 seconds for shutter speed. And of course, we already talked about your aperture is f2.8. And these numbers will vary. Like, you're gonna basically, what's gonna hoop you up is if there's a lot of light in the sky. If the moon's out, chances are you're not gonna get a lot of stars. If the moon is gone, well, the party's on. You can get as much of the Milky Way as you want. Especially for meteor showers, you want to be, say, maybe 30 seconds or longer, just to get that really cool effect of the stars streaking across the sky. For things like the northern lights, you may be around 15 seconds or so, kind of depending how active they are, how bright they are. And you're going to notice some different colors from what you see from the naked eye, because your camera is going to pick up some different rays of light, some different color streams. So you'll be pleasantly surprised when you get those images of the northern lights in your camera. Another thing you want to do is scout a location, because things can get pretty boring if you're just taking pictures of the sky. What you want to have is a really cool foreground subject, like maybe an old building or, say, a body of water that's going to reflect what you're shooting. Just something that provides a little more interest, so that when you're looking at the image, you're like, wow, that's a really cool old building, and look at these awesome northern lights. This person must be like shooting for a major company or something. So try and fool them, right? Another thing that is really going to enhance your photography is using light. So it's nighttime, you're going to want to have a flashlight with you, because not only for painting with light, but for safety's sake. True story, a friend of mine, we went out last summer to a location here in Newell, and we had our flashlights, walking along, and she stopped ahead of me. I'm like, well, what's wrong? I figured I'd let this rattlesnake have the right of way. So yeah, there are rattlesnakes out there at night. Be careful. However, you can also use this flashlight to paint with light. Whatever you're focusing on with your flashlight in the foreground, that's going to become lit in your image. So even if it's a split second of introducing some light, that's going to show up. This can also be really cool if you're into the selfies, because you can, set a timer, go out into the scene, even with your smartphone. Just even a second of going like this, you're going to capture your full body in that image. Another thing to experiment with is colored light. You can maybe have like a red light or a green light or something on this old building or barn. Because, when you're out there trying to get some images, you get bored. It's going to be a few hours that you're out there. So, you might want to play with light. You can also, with painting with light, even write words. Just as long as you're not shooting into the camera, because that's going to totally mess everything up that you're trying to do. However, you can have a lot of fun shooting at night. I prefer to go out in the summertime because it's a little warmer. Always remember to pack extra clothes or a blanket or something for when you do get chilly. Northern Lights have been amazing this past year. And usually you're going to get better, crisper shots in the winter because it is colder out and there are a bunch of ice crystals floating around out there, so your Northern Lights images are going to be better. The trade-off is it's going to be like minus 30. So make sure things are warm, your phone is charged, you've got plenty of gas in your vehicle, so you're not stranded out there and freezing. You don't want to sacrifice too much for this image. So that's TogTips for today, and remember, the only way you're going to improve is pick up that camera and shoot.